Have you ever seen a giant just disappear? In the world of wrestling, they don't get bigger than World Championship Wrestling. At one point, WCW was the biggest, most watched wrestling company on Earth. A monster that seemed like it could never be beaten. And then, it was gone. Just like that. For years, everyone has blamed the same things. Insane contracts that paid guys millions to do nothing, crazy ideas like making a Hollywood actor the world champion, or the infamous Fingerpoke of Doom. But what if I told you those were just the symptoms? What if the real moment WCW died wasn't a dumb wrestling move, but a single phone call that made $1 billion empire completely worthless overnight? This isn't a story about bad wrestling. This is a story about a disastrous business decision made by one guy who had no idea what he was destroying. This is the one mistake that actually killed WCW forever. First, you have to understand just how insanely huge WCW was. In the mid-90s, WCW, backed by the money of billionaire Ted Turner, wasn't just fighting the WWF, it was destroying them. It all kicked off on September 4th, 1995, when they launched WCW Monday Nitro, a live show going head-to-head with WWF's Monday Night Raw. The war began, and WCW was winning. Big time. Their biggest move was in 1996 with the New World Order, or NWO. They took Hulk Hogan, the biggest good guy in wrestling history, and made him a villain. This was so shocking it changed the entire industry. For 83 straight weeks, Nitro beat Raw in the ratings, something nobody thought was possible. WCW was everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing that black and white NWO shirt. It was more than wrestling. It was a cultural rebellion. And they were making brand new stars, too. A monster named Goldberg came out of nowhere and went on an undefeated streak that had millions of people glued to their TVs. Plus, their cruiserweight division had guys like Rey Mysterio and Chris Jericho doing these mind-blowing acrobatic moves that the WWF couldn't even touch. And the secret weapon behind it all? Their billionaire owner, Ted Turner, was a huge wrestling fan and poured endless money into it. He gave them so much cash they could offer gigantic, guaranteed contracts to steal all the WWF's best wrestlers. At the time, this was an unstoppable weapon. To everyone watching, WCW looked like a brand that could never, ever be killed. It had the money, the stars, and the ratings. But the thing that would destroy them wasn't in the ring. It was in a corporate office that couldn't care less about wrestling. Empires don't just explode. They rot from the inside first. And by 1999, WCW was rotting. The very things that made them so huge were now tearing them apart. First, their ideas got stale. The NWO, which used to be the coolest thing ever, became a confusing mess with a million different versions. The creativity was gone, replaced by desperate moves. In January 1999, they did the Fingerpoke of Doom, where one wrestler just laid down and let Hulk Hogan pin him to win the world title. Fans felt betrayed. Then came Vince Russo, who booked some of the dumbest things ever, like making the actor David Arquette the world champion. An actor! These moments weren't just bad, they were insulting the audience and driving them away. The second problem was the money. Those huge contracts were now a disaster. They had to pay top stars millions of dollars whether they wrestled or not, and some guys had so much power they could refuse to lose a match. It was a complete nightmare. The company was burning through cash, losing a reported $62 million in the year 2000 alone. But believe it or not, even that wasn't the fatal blow. The company was still on two huge TV networks, TNT and TBS, and their shows had some of the best ratings on those channels. As long as Ted Turner was there, he would protect WCW because he loved it. Then, everything changed. In January 2001, the company's owner merged with AOL, and it was a total takeover. Ted Turner, the guy who built the entire empire, was pushed aside. He had no power anymore, and the new executives who took over hated wrestling. To these new bosses, wrestling wasn't awesome entertainment, it was lowbrow trash. They thought it was an embarrassment, even though millions of people were watching it every single week. With Ted Turner gone, WCW lost its only protector. It was no longer a prized possession, it was just a division that was losing money, run by people who despised it. All they needed was someone to pull the trigger. By early 2001, WCW was dying, but a guy named Eric Bischoff came in with a crazy plan to save it. Bischoff, the man who started Nitro and the NWO, got a group of investors together called Fusion Media Ventures to buy the company. The deal was announced on January 11, 2001. The plan was insane. Take WCW completely off TV for a few months, redesign everything, and relaunch with a giant event called The Big Bang. It was a chance to hit the reset button. But the entire deal depended on one thing: keeping WCW's TV shows on TNT and TBS. Without TV, a wrestling company is literally worthless. You can't build stars or promote your shows. Bischoff wasn't just buying a company, he was buying its access to millions of fans. The deal was so close to being finished that Bischoff actually went on a family vacation, thinking it was done. And then this guy, Jamie Kellner, the new CEO of Turner Broadcasting, made the single worst decision in entertainment history. Like the other new executives, he saw wrestling as a dirty product. He found something in the sales contract that gave him an opportunity to act. While Eric Bischoff was on that vacation, his phone rang. The message was insane. Jamie Kellner made one phone call and canceled all of WCW's programming. Just like that. It wasn't a debate, it was an execution. This was the kill shot. This was the one mistake. By canceling WCW's TV, Kellner didn't just get rid of a show he didn't like, he intentionally made a multi-million-dollar company worthless. The deal with Fusient was instantly dead. With no TV shows, they backed out immediately. The war was over. Not with a pinfall in the ring, but with a phone call in an office. The second WCW lost its TV shows, it was game over. For Eric Bischoff and his investors, the decision was easy. They were out. As Bischoff later said, WCW without TV was worthless to everyone except one person. The corporate bosses at AOL Time Warner just wanted to get rid of it. With the Fusient deal gone, their only goal was to dump the company as fast as possible. All they could do was sell the dead body, and there was only one person who would buy it. Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWF, and the man WCW had been at war with for years, was the only one who could do anything with what was left. In one of the most unbelievable moments in business history, Vince bought his biggest rival. The price was an absolute joke. He bought the entire WCW brand, the name, the championships, and the massive video library for around $4.2 million. To put that in perspective, just a few years earlier, the company was worth hundreds of millions. The brand that beat the WWF for 83 weeks was sold for less than what they paid a single top wrestler in 1 year. And the craziest part? The sale didn't even include the contracts for WCW's biggest stars like Hulk Hogan, Goldberg, or Kevin Nash. The parent company had to keep paying them millions of dollars to just sit at home. That's why the WWF's invasion of WCW didn't have the huge stars everyone wanted to see. The very last episode of WCW Monday Nitro aired on March 26, 2001. In a moment nobody could have ever imagined, Vince McMahon appeared on his own show to announce that he had bought his competition. Then, his son Shane showed up on Nitro to say it was his now. It was a rushed, bizarre ending for a company that was once on top of the world. People will tell you that WCW died from 1,000 different cuts. And it's true that bad ideas and wasted money made them weak. But a weak company isn't a dead one. They could have survived all of that. As long as WCW was on television, it still had a chance. We find the craziest business stories in the world and break them down for you. If you want to see more insane stories like this, smash that subscribe button. The one thing that actually killed WCW was that one guy, Jamie Kellner, making one phone call. That single decision proved that content is worthless if you can't show it to people. TV is the lifeblood of a wrestling company, and Kellner cut that artery in a second. What if he never made that call? What if Bischoff's deal went through? It's one of the biggest what-ifs in wrestling. A new WCW could have kept the competition alive, which is always better for wrestlers and fans. Instead, we got a wrestling monopoly for almost 20 years. In the end, the death of WCW is more than just a wrestling story. It's a massive business lesson. It shows what happens when a brand loved by millions falls into the hands of people who don't get it and don't care about it. The war was won by Vince McMahon, but he didn't fire the final shot. It was an inside job, pulled off by an executive who saw a cultural phenomenon as just another number on a spreadsheet. And in doing so, he made the one mistake that truly killed WCW forever.